Well, good day. Welcome to the channel. Well, as always, we're here to share with you information. To those that are new, please like, please subscribe, and follow the channel. Well, there's something called contract farming, or let's say poultry contract farming. This is you raising chickens on behalf of someone else and them coming to pick up those chickens from you. Well, this has always been happening. It's nothing new. It's been used for years. This did not start here in Zimbabwe. It started everywhere else in Europe and America, and especially in America. America is where it's really big, and here in Zimbabwe it has followed the same pattern. But a lot of people do not understand what they get themselves into when they say that they're going into contract farming. You are given quite a lot of information, but you do not you're given actually a contract which you do not understand and which you need to understand. Well, let's start with the first thing that normally happens in contract farming. Well, in contract farming, it's you taking care of someone's chickens from day old all the way to slaughter weight. And when you're taking care of them, you are the one. They will give you the chickens, medication, and the feed. You're on your end, you're supposed to give them water and the structures. Well, when it comes to the structures, they will tell you how they want those structures to be built, the size of structures that they want built, and normally those costs are on you. Yes, they will send a surveyor to come to your house or to your farm. They will tell you, okay, we want let's say normally it's 100 meters by 12 meter structure. Normally they do not want one, they want two. Then they will ask you, they will tell you how high they should be, how the angle of the elevation they should be, which orientation they should be facing, and the amount of the things that the materials that you need to use. Once they've finished analyzing all that and they've given you all that information, they will also tell you which orientation. Once they've given you the orientation, you build. They will come and inspect your once it's been complete. Then they will tell you that it's okay. Then they'll say biosecurity. They want you to be fenced off, and you need to fence it off to make sure that no other animals go inside there, and that it is safe, and the food baths. They will tell you everything. They will give you a very detailed structure of how it should look like. Then after they've done that, once you have agreed, they've seen the structures and they're happy with the structures, they will give you a contract. This contract is normally them providing you 10,000 birds per each batch of each of the structures. So roughly that the structure that they would have built is for 10,000 birds. So you've built for two. These structures, I don't want to lie to you, by the time you may think that they're cheap, they're going to cost you probably 10 to 15,000 each. Yes, I said it, 10 to 15,000 dollars just to build those structures. Here in Zimbabwe, 10 to 15,000 is a lot of money to build a structure. But you will be building a structure that you'll be able to house these chickens. After you have housed these chickens, we go into the next stage of them now giving what the contract will then state. The contract, the parts that you guys do not read are the parts that are very important, but you do not realize them until you're already in it. They are going to give you these checks. The first thing is that you have not read the small, minute details where they will start hammering you. Let us say for a fact, let's just read the first quick line. For every chicken that you produce, we will give you $1. If you do not hit a certain target of chicks, I want to put it in very small terms. Let me not go to the big figures like the 10,000, which will be the structure. Let's put it at 100. So that we break it down for you to make it easier for you to understand. Because once I go to 10,000, it may look as if the economies of scales are okay with you. No. The things that they will look at is, the first thing is how much money does it cost? How much, one, you need labor for yourself. Two, you need to make sure that you have got enough water. So you need to have a borehole which pumps out a lot of water to make sure that the chickens have got enough water every day. You need to make sure that the biosecurity, as I said, is already in place. And therefore, you need to make sure that you're also not doing any other things, especially when it comes to chickens, especially when it comes to these broiler farmers. You are not doing any other broiler chickens, or you're not doing any other road runners, you're not doing anything else, but you're just going to be concentrating on broiler chickens only. They're broiler chickens. So what am I saying here? We are now going into a very small line. Let's say the contract is for 100 chickens. At every 100 chickens, we are going to, for every chicken that you produce from day old until slaughter weight, we are going to give you $1. You do the maths and you're like, that is a very good way of maths. For 100, that means I'm getting $100 for doing nothing, just for 100 chickens. My labor will be covered, I will have it covered, because roughly you need about 2 people. You do your maths, but you're saying to yourself, you're covered the number of people that you need to do your labor, and you have got enough water, you've got enough resources. I'm good to go. You are therefore now in a position whereby you're given the chicks. Woo! Here comes the chicks. Woo! Here comes the feed. Here comes also the medication. You need to make sure that this place is kept warm, especially when they're starting as day old. You need to make sure that they're warm. So you're either using wood, charcoal, or electricity. Those are the 3 sources of power that you're using to get these chicks warm. Normally, that is the basic things that you're doing. But here is where you guys do not understand why contract farming, a lot of people cry when it comes to contract farming. At $1, you are getting $1, but there are certain things that you are not really understanding. In the event that they come and check, which they would definitely do, that your biosecurity is not correct, there is not enough water, there is not enough feed, they will start deducting, which are considered points. So points is from your dollar that you would have agreed on. They will come and deduct. Today they come, they see that you have not put enough water. They remove 10 cents. So now, instead of getting $1 per each chick, you're now at 90 cents per chick. 2-3 days later, they come, they check, they see that you have just, let's say, this can just be a bad day. Your farmer next door, their chickens decide that they jump over your fence due to the fact that they see a lot of food around. They jump, they see chickens passing inside a road runner crossing through your enclosure. They deduct 20 points. That means now, instead of getting $1, they've deducted your 10, they've deducted your 20, they've now taken 30 cents away from you. Now you're at 70 cents per bird. They don't care that just one road runner passed by. No, they're already hammering you because they want to make a profit, and you are already failing to meet up to the contract. 2-3 days pass by, they come back, they see that you're not giving them enough water, or you've just forgot, your employee has just forgotten to give them enough water. Another 10 points is hit. If you are not careful, before the end of your first batch, you would be the one who's owing them, because they can come and fine you all the way to 0, and then they can go all the way to minus. And once they start going into minus, that means that you and your chicks, you are now paying them the minute you go into minus. Yes, that is what happens in contract farming. And yes, people don't realize it. You may think, I've got all the best people, I can do everything. No, they will find problems with something on your farm. There is no one who gets that $10 per bird. That is what has been agreed. You will find that you will have something that is always a problem. You will always have something that they will find, because that is what they're used to. That is what they want you to be. It's like a teacher who's always ready to today I want to go into the classroom and whip someone. they will whip you. They will find something to whip you on. And normally in contract farming, they will find something to whip you on. Be it the food not being enough, is in the water not being enough, your biosecurity not enough, the way your workers, the clothes that they are wearing is not enough. So imagine you have built a structure for 10,000. You were actually thinking that by the time they give me my first birds, by the next 6 or the 10th batch, I would have recouped my money. Trust me, by the time you get to your third batch, most likely the first batch normally you will pass quite well, because they don't want you to be disappointed. You will not probably pass with 100%, but you will probably pass with 90%. By the time you get to the 6th batch, you would have started failing. And by the time you get to the 8th or 10th batch, you would have quit. Yes, I'm saying it. You would have quit, because you would not be able to always meet the expectations. I have a lot of farmers in our area who have built these structures. They have always told me the same story, because I almost went into it. And they tell me the same stories, that this is what happens to them. And they have been so drained to a point whereby they do not even want to see what farming is all about, especially when it comes to commercial. Well, there are things that other people then do to then make sure that they stay sustainable and all that, but that is a video that I do not want to make, because that is already you cheating the system. But I do not need you to be cheating the system. I need you just to understand that this is what happens in that system that you want to go. So this system is very dangerous for someone who has never done this kind of agriculture. This agriculture has been there for years, and it has always been for the benefit of the person who is providing you the materials. It is not meant to benefit you, the person who's keeping it, because you become an employee indirectly. You're already an employee. The contract that they are just signing is for you to then make sure that you comply to their terms and conditions. And when you comply to those terms and conditions, you are in a position whereby you are always in a disadvantage. They've got to disadvantage you, because to them, they need to make a profit. And the only way they can make a profit is by making sure that they make sure that it makes it very difficult for you, the person who's raising them, to raise them well. But you are going to raise them well. You're going to get them to the kgs they want. But at the same time, they are in a position whereby they are going to make sure that they will not want to give you that full money as always. So what do I say to people who want to go into contract farming? Read the lines carefully before you even start going to construct the housing for it, because the minute you start building and constructing these houses, you are putting in a lot of capital, and that capital needs to generate money. And if you put in that capital and it does not generate for you, you are going to be always in a position in debt. So let us make sure that we understand what we're doing when we want to do contract farming. We understand the principles of what is in that contract. Contracts which are you need to read each and every line. If you do not understand, ask the questions before you even start, because if you do not ask the questions and you just read the parts which are interesting, because the parts which are very interesting are, you're going to get $1 per bird after so many weeks, and once you've reached that goal. But you're not reading the things whereby they say inspections, and what those inspections will then affect, how they affect you, or where they trigger you off in, or how they will affect you in the long term, or whereby they can automatically start. We can start today putting in the chickens. After if they give you 3-4 batches, they've got the right to just say tomorrow, we don't want to give you any more chickens. But you have built already a structure, and they've just stopped giving you chicks. That's what happened to another person that I know. They had a structure, 2 structures which were nicely done. They got the first 3-4 batches. I think by the 5th batch, they were told, we have decided that we are no more continuing with you. Why? They don't need to give you a reason. They really don't need to give you a reason. And where are you going to go as a person who's a farmer who does not have a lot of money to complain to that they, even if they breach the contract and they decide that they just want to cancel it, and most likely they would have put already a clause in there that they can cancel it at any time, and you have not read it well, but you have signed up to it and you have built that structure. So sometimes when it comes to contract farming, it is best to do it with probably smaller companies which are going to give you a fair price. They will give you a fair price at the beginning, but sooner or later they will start doing. I've got a lot of companies that I can say here, but I would not want to say them because they're reputable. They started off giving people very good contracts. By the time they became big, they were giving people some horrible contracts. So people were just, those were the ones that really went and killed quite a lot of farmers in my area, because those contracts were affected them very much. Well, I hope that I've given you an insight of what it is about contract farming and how it affects each and every person, and how you guys should be tackling it when you decide that you want to do poultry farm under contract farming. And always be careful and be vigilant before you do anything, because a lot of things you need to really be vigilant, or else indirectly you will lose out. Well, I think that is it for me and contract farming. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. To those that are new, please follow, like, comment. Until next time, have a good day.